Well, it's been a very busy few weeks in football in Victoria. Benny, tell us about it.
Yeah, down there at Royal Park during the week, there was 18 teams from all over the world come to play Australian rules football against each other.
They came from all around the globe to represent their country in the 2011 Australian Rules International Cup, held in Sydney and Melbourne. There were 18 countries represented in the men's competition and 5 in the women's. The colour was spectacular, the atmosphere electrifying, and footy was adding to the reputation of a multicultural Melbourne. Cultural enrichment was evident and on show when the Papua New Guinea team joined in prayer after their win over the United States of America. This win took them into the grand final to be played at the MCG. The Kiwis, they paid tribute to their opponents, Ireland, with the haka.
This competition's been really very well received over the last several years. I've had the privilege of attending myself in the past on a couple of occasions, and to be here today and see international teams playing AFL footy in the sunshine in Melbourne, nothing could be better. Fantastic atmosphere, and again, the players all very enthusiastic, including the women's teams.
Intensity and the skills here, how do you rate that against local footy played every Saturday in Melbourne?
What I'm seeing, a lot better than mine. I've got to say, I've played some footy out here, Parkville, but it's fantastic, and the skills are really a reflection of the passion for the game. And just talking to some of the blokes on the other oval there, they are really into this. It's an enthusiastic group, and I think you can get the feel from the spectators as well. Everyone's got their crowd favourites, whether it's a team or particular individuals, and that's part of AFL footy. Everybody loves it, and this is bringing together our multicultural base, our footy base and our international base, particularly with students. And thank you again to the AFL for what they're doing for international students.
Have you got a favourite team?
Well, I'm a bit partial to the Peace team, I've got to say. I think there's a fantastic message there, and having just been wrestled to the boundary by Dipper, I think if I don't back the Peace team, he'll probably wrestle me all the way to the turf. So I'm partial to the Peace team, but there's plenty to support here.
I travelled to many of the countries and provided them with a bit of a resource. Being a coach, took some training, played a few games along the way, cooked a few barbecues, tried to get a few sponsors. So yeah, I was trying to be a jack of all trades for them.
And what did you think was the most outstanding feature about seeing Australian rules overseas?
I just think the passion for the game and the love of it. And, at the essence, it's not so much about the financial and the money. It's more about people love footy, and I could have been anywhere in Victoria, but where I was, people loved it just the same. And it's a game that's been, I think, adopted all over the world.
New Zealand's got a very long history in the game, back about 125 years, but it's been going again since 1974. It's a bit of a sleeper sport. We sort of have periods where we're more well known and less well known, but we've had a couple of matches from the AFL in New Zealand, about 15,000 attending, but I think there's just a really slowly growing base of players. So I think it's on the up, and it'll just take a lot of time, but you know, in a few more years I think we'll be a real force.
Do you see much difference to local football played here in Melbourne every weekend?
Yeah, not at all. Obviously they're less equipped with resources and things, but the same volunteers need to be involved, and the time spent organising things, and people just showing up, playing a game, and then it's the barbecue and a few beers afterwards, and it's the whole community spirit. It's not just the football. The football is the thing that brings people together, but then afterwards it's that connection, like it's part of your family.
I've seen 3 international finals in Darwin, and this will be the 4th final I see in the International Cup. Definitely, every year increase in quality at the top, increase in depth, and just increase in communication and understanding of the game. Everybody is just a lot more familiar with things every time around. So every 3 years, the game around the world takes a real leap forward because of these events.
We're very happy with how we've gone so far, probably more so with the results than some of the outcomes. We had a couple of easy games to start off with against Sweden and India, obviously new to the competition, but great to play those sort of international sides. And we came up against Great Britain, and they were expecting a lot from their side, and they really, I think they'd be pretty disappointed with the way they came out and played against us. We managed to get our hands on the footy a lot, slightly slippery conditions, but our boys really performed very well against that and took a lot of confidence into the next round against Canada, and maybe got a little bit ahead of ourselves. We're actually down at three-quarter time and had to pull out all the stops in the last quarter, so very happy to get up. Very happy to be in the semi-finals, but we know we're in for a match today.
It's been a fantastic competition up in Sydney. The football community up there have been fantastic out at Great and West of Sydney. The facilities out there and the whole community, the umpires, all the volunteers that have been out there. It was a fantastic atmosphere up there. And then to come down here in Melbourne as well. You know, it's the home of football, and the guys are absolutely loving it here. Oh, the crowds, it's just phenomenal. We play within crowds of maybe 30, 40 people back down in Christchurch. Turn up here and have all the school kids and all the support, all the other teams here. No, it was a brilliant place to play footy.
And for a New Zealander to come over here to the International Cup, what's it like?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's an opportunity that not a lot of people get. It is a huge commitment for people to come here, but because we love the game so much, we enjoy playing it. You know, we're in it with the team. You know, you wouldn't think twice about doing it.
What about your preparation? Because your season doesn't start until September.
Yeah, look, the boys have trained right through since February. We've been training 3 nights a week in Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch. Right through the winter, we've had some terrible weather to contend with. Obviously the boys down in Christchurch have also had to contend with the disruptions caused by the earthquake. So we've been working very hard in sometimes trying conditions.
Our home ground actually had a little spring pop up in it, and they haven't been able to drain it, so we've had to move the footy field. We've got a few boys down there and a couple of string lines out. We moved the goalpost to suit. And we've had sports facilities down there, gyms and sports centres that have been closed down. So some of us have bought a bit of gym gear and working out of the garage and things like that. So we're making do, and it was, we had a good preparation here regardless of sort of the events that went through.
We've got 3 guys based over here in Australia, one up in Cairns, one playing country New South Wales, and another guy who is playing in the amateurs in Melbourne. So their experience has been invaluable for us because it's just that level of competition. Obviously they've also been able to play through the season. It really is invaluable for us to have that sort of experience in the squad. We've got over 30,000 youngsters playing what we call Kiwi Kick, very closely based on Auskick, and we're in a number of schools. We've also got a secondary schools competition called the Hawks Cup, thanks to the support from Hawthorn. So our boys are really set to take a big leap in the coming years.
30,000 Kiwi kickers. What age do they start to drop off and you don't see the benefit?
Well, that's the great benefit of Hawthorn's involvement. With the Hawks Cup, it's now a secondary schools competition. So if players experience Kiwi Kick for the first time, we've now got a pathway through the Hawks Cup in secondary schools and then back on into our club structure. So hopefully we're working very hard at AFL in New Zealand to try and make sure that pathway is there right from the first time they're introduced to footy at primary school level right through to senior football.
Exciting tournament this time round, 18 teams. New Zealand won in 05, runner-up in 08, and looks like we're not going to make the final this year. Very tough competition. Ireland and PNG are excellent sides. Ireland have got a lot of players playing in Aussie, but they've got a lot of natural talent, and PNG have just got talent to burn. So it's I don't think we're going to make it in our semi-final at the moment, but the final between Ireland and PNG should be a really great game of football.